Welcome to Try Not to Overthink It, where we explore the intricate landscape of mental health, well-being, and everyday life. I'm RJ.
I'm Unique.
And I'm Khalil.
Join us as we dive into insightful conversations, expert perspectives, and personal stories that shed light on the various dimensions of mental wellness. Whether you're seeking guidance, inspiration, or a deeper understanding of the human mind, this podcast is your space to engage, learn, and navigate the journey to a happier, healthier self. So today we are going to be talking about having tough conversations. For me, when it came to this particular topic, I was watching a YouTube video, and so this young lady was on there. I assume it was a TikTok, and there was somebody reacting to her TikTok, and so she was asking, I guess, her followers a question. So the question was, if you have been in a serious relationship with someone for a few years now, and you had something you needed to talk to them about, would you tell them? And so the thing that she was referring to was there was an adult activity that she had engaged in with a few of his friends. And so she was on the fence on if she should tell him or not, or keep it to herself. And so for me, me and Anna had talked about it because we had watched it together. I think I was at her house.
Hold on. So I can make sure I'm understanding. She was doing the grown up with her man's friends?
This was before they got together. Okay,
before they got together, she did the grown up with her now current boyfriend's friends.
Friends.
Yes.
So that's multiples. When I hear friends, that's plural. Right?
Yeah, she did the grown up.
They had engaged in a
consensual situation.
A consensual situation it was like a group consensual situation.
Okay.
And so they had engaged in that, and this was before her and the guy were together. He didn't know her at the time. And so now fast forward, now they're in a committed monogamous relationship, a serious relationship, and they have been for a while now. And she was debating on if she should tell him or not. And so me and Anna talked about it, and I was just like, you lead with that. I'm sorry, sis, you lead with that.
Yeah.
You lead with that. Because
because you got to have Friendsgiving with these people.
Yeah, right. And I mean,
I can't be at the Friendsgiving table, and you know where my birthmark is on my left side, and then you gonna be like, oh, I know, because you're not gonna surprise my man with that kind of knowledge.
Yeah, and that was the conversation that me and Anna had was like when it comes to certain things, like I think that for a lot of us, we are waiting for the perfect time to relay certain news, and this particular topic is not just applicable to your relationships. This is applicable to all facets of your life, because there's never going to be a good time to have a tough conversation with somebody. And so
I debate you on that.
Listen, most of us as human beings, our thought process is, there's always there's going to be that thought process of I got to wait for the perfect time to tell somebody something. And there's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time.
There's going to be a better time. I don't think there's going to be perfect. There are better times than others.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it is crucial that when it comes to having tough conversations with people, it's crucial to confront the difficult topic rather than trying to avoid it. I think that for a lot of us, when we're waiting for that perfect time, we're trying to avoid it rather than and hope that maybe it goes away. But like in that instance that I used at the very start of the episode, that just gets worse over time.
Right.
Because as my friends, you sitting here, you know her.
Right.
And
no, they don't know her. No, they knew of her. Because they knew Wild and Crazy her. Okay.
Right.
Smashing the homies her. They don't know monogamous her.
She said smashing the homies her.
They don't know that's a new woman. Okay. That's a whole new woman in that monogamous relationship.
See, Unique. I mean, I don't want to segue back into that because we passed her. But the issue I'm having with the other friends know, and they still didn't tell their friend. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of deception on both sides.
I don't know that it's deception. I think that once your relationship passes a certain point, right? I'm not saying you just got to be secretive. I'm in full transparency. My husband knows everything. He said I probably tell him too much. Like, I don't think I needed to know that. Like, you could have kept that.
Right.
But that's one of my besties. Like, I'm going to tell him stuff. Like I see him just like I would with my best friend, so I'm gonna let him know. But I think there are certain things. I'll use me and my husband, for instance. I think that there are certain people that he has dated or certain relationships that he has had, and those relationships have morphed into something else now that he's married, where I might not know all of the details. And I'm of the notion of, are you done with that? Is that chapter wrapped up? Because I have people in my life that are friends now. Beforehand, were we always just platonic? Did we always view each other as just platonic? No. But I think now it is. So when I'm introducing my husband, this is a friend. Like that's it. That's all this ever is gonna be, is a friend.
But
it's a friend.
These gentlemen, all right, who had sex with
there wasn't relations. Khalil, we wasn't there. We don't know what they had.
So they had relations, right, with that young lady. Okay. My issue is they're friends with him as well. These people know him. You get what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I do. But I'm saying if this was a group activity, right? If this was a group icebreaker, then I think that, like I said, we just don't know. We don't know was this freshman year of college, and now these jokers are in their careers, like they on the road. Because that's a whole different person. I'm not the same person I was as a freshman in college.
But you should still say, hey, RJ, you know, the girl you running with, you know, me and my crew used to run with her back in the day. You know,
maybe okay, so man to man, maybe that's a man to man conversation.
She was a little wild back in the day, RJ, but she all right now. Like I guess she's, you know, trying to
that woman is
be a housewife now. She's trying to get,
she's reformed. She can be in
reformed. But I need to at least let him know something, not have him walking around in the dark. And then all of a sudden, RJ be like, "Y'all did that? Y'all did that? And you didn't tell me, Khalil?"
But I think that's on the guys. I don't know that that's necessarily on the woman.
I think that, like, for me personally, I think it's on both of them. Because at the end of the day, it's on my friends, because I knew them before I knew my loyalty is with them in the fact that I knew them this amount of time. So you should have came to me man to man and had that conversation with me. But as my woman, if we're in a committed monogamous relationship, that is where the trust and the empathy comes in. Because if we're in a committed monogamous relationship, I lay up with you. So if I'm coming to you, and I'd rather hear it from you than from somebody joking and playing in my face. Because now, because like I'll use me for an example, right? I dated a young lady, so we know a lot of the same people. So for me, when I ask you a question because I already know the answer. I just want to see what you're gonna tell me. If you gonna keep it a buck with me, or you gonna try to jug and finesse me. So I asked her a question. Now, there were certain things that had been brought to my attention because of the circle of friends that we all have. And so her being into an alternative lifestyle, I'm like, okay. So I'm not judging nobody. We in 2023. You do whatever you had going on before me. Whatever you had,
you a new person.
Whatever you had going on before me, that that you were entitled to that. But if we're supposed to be trying to build something, I should never have to have people coming to me and telling me stuff about you that I shouldn't already know.
I agree. I agree with that, Raj.
And so I asked her, and so I flat out, I just asked her. She kind of danced around and went around the whole world. I was like, you know why I'm asking you that, right? I said, because I already know. So I said, you trying to bullshit me right now just makes it worse.
Right.
I said, to me, I'm not going to treat you no different. I ain't going to look at you no differently. But at the end of the day, to me now, what that says is now when I ask you a question, I know that you're probably in the back of my mind, you could be telling me the truth, but in the back of my mind, I'm gonna be like, she bullshit me again. And so you cannot operate in a space like that, because again, trust is something that's very
level
important.
of trust is broken. There we go.
But I think the conversation where just thinking about that specific conversation, I think there are other hard conversations to have. Right. I was listening to the radio, and the man, his ex-fiance died a month before he got married to his current wife. Him and his current wife had been in a relationship for I think like 5 years, and got married. And then the wife was looking at this Christmas time, so she goes up in the attic and she sees this box. So she thinks it's like, oh, it's one of her. She stumbled on one of her Christmas presents or something. Like, what this man done bought and sees like, I think, a necklace, and then finds these letters. This man has been writing his ex-fiance on her death anniversary every year for 5 years. And the wife didn't know he had a fiance. She didn't know nothing. So she asked him, like, what's the timeline? He started dating his current wife a month after the ex-fiance died. She know nothing. And she's like, now I feel some type, like I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. But I think sometimes I'm just playing the other side, right? I think sometimes it's just hard for people to know where to even start sometimes with stuff like that, right? Where do I start? Especially if you have changed or a different person or you're trying to move forward, you might be able to move forward, but everybody ain't as gracious.
Right.
Like, let's just be real. If we go with the homegirl who was smashing the homeboy, we all went to college, right? And then for Khalil, even a little later, but Khalil, you was 20-something. You was out here living life doing dumb stuff. We were all young and dumb at one point. And the young and dumb person that we are not the person that we are today, okay? Mm-hmm. We are the distinguished degree having, letters behind our name. We're not them people no more.
But still, in my 20s, right, I still had some form of loyalty to especially some of my close friends, like, because
but I'm talking about now.
You date.
You're not digging everything up and telling your wife every crazy thing you did in your 20s. You're not.
Call on me.
No.
You're
not that. But I'm just saying.
On a friend, Khalil.
Look,
you're not telling your wife all the stuff you did in your 20s. You're not telling her all that, man.
No. But what I'm saying is, if I have a mutual friend, right, that's dating somebody who I know, and I know a little something about them, usually male or female, you feel me? Mm-hmm. Either one, I'm usually going to hit that person. Hey, he used to mess with such and such, or she used to mess with such and such. So I know a little something about that person.
Does that change anything though?
Yeah, a lot of times it doesn't, depending on the person's perception and depending on how the relationship is going. But usually I'm still just going to put certain things out there so they don't. I don't want you moving. I don't want you moving on the assumption that I don't know that person, because then once you do find out I know that person, you're like, oh,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
You held this from me. You get what I'm saying? I just don't like that.
Y'all know I'm playing on the other side today.
The devil's advocate, right?
I'm gonna be the advocate today. I'm gonna advocate for those wrong things.
Tough conversations are difficult. There's a lot of things.
You might have to jump in there, Raja.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things you don't want to tell.
I think that when it comes down to it, with situations like in just what we've been talking about for the past couple minutes, like in situations like that, when you are, because it is a lie, it's a live omission. Right. And when you are not being 100% truthful, you are not allowing the person to make a decision for themselves.
Okay.
That's fact.
Now that's fact. But are these close homeboys? I just think we need a little bit more context.
I mean, like, homeboys is homeboys, but I mean, think about it like this right here. Think about it in this context. Say I have a non-curable STI.
Yeah.
And I choose to not inform you that before we lay up.
I understand that.
Perception.
It's the perception.
I understand that, but that's something that is. I think that's a little different in that this is now something that the person that's gonna impact the person's life for the rest of their life in a way, health wise.
Yeah.
If we're talking about sexual partners, right? I mean, do you want a list of everybody that your partner has been with? And I think if you were with their friends, what would that conversation look like? Hey, look, me and your boys, I do know them very well. We had a little situation. Would it suffice if your woman just said, we had a situation back in college, or we had a situation before I even met you?
Yes.
It was a little unsavory, but it was good for the time being.
But but I have to respect that. I have to respect the honesty. Yeah, that shows her character. The content of her character is what I'm trying to judge. I don't care about nothing else.
It's not the actual act. It's the fact of again, we're not leading with honesty. Like we talk about, as therapists, we talk about how, honesty is like the foundation of which every relationship is built upon. And so you can't like pick and choose what you're honest about. Like, granted, some things you're not going to need to go into the weeds about. You're not going to need to pick through every little detail.
What I felt like y'all was saying. Like,
no,
are we
but if these are people that he's engaging with on a regular basis, the least you could say is, hey, in the past, before you and I were together, this and this happened. Right. And then allow him to make the decision of, hey, if he wants to continue to be in a relationship with you, versus, because we as guys, we all joke. We all crack jokes. We all be roasting each other, giving each other a hard time. And the last thing that you need for him is for one of those roasting sessions, one of those times where we joking on each other, that one of his homeboys throw that out there. And then now he's sitting there caught unawares and he looking stupid. Because now at that point where the relationship was possibly savable, it's dead now. Ain't no saving it now. Because I always look back on like Jerry Springer and Maury Povich, where they bring somebody on the television show to tell them, baby, I love you. I love you so much. And
I hated that show.
And but your mama, I was sleeping with your mama this whole time.
Right.
Or your sister's child might be my child. Right. Like, to me, again, honesty.
That's foolishness. And I think that happens more times than not. Like, because I hear with the young lady. But let's be real, fellas. Okay, that's why I had to go so hard in the paint for those young women. Okay, because y'all will go and try to hit up the whole friend team.
Right.
You talk to her, try to get at her best friend, the girl she don't like.
No.
Okay. Roger Mel's the same. He don't do that.
No, but that's true.
A lot of guys do. A lot of guys do.
Yeah. In your 20s, if you meet a friend group, usually, especially if one of your partners don't pull it off properly, boom, you bounce to the next friend. That's how it is. I mean, you can run through the whole friend group. Like, I don't even do it right. He lost her. I'm gonna go scoop her up. It happens. It happens in your 20s.
Yeah.
Right. I think that it's important that there has to be a safe space that is created where the person feels, or you feel, that you can convey and relay and receive information of a serious magnitude.
Like an edible arrangements. That's what they get you coffee like
that. Definitely, I think that there has to be a safe space that's created, because if you do not create a safe space, that is what creates that barrier for communication to be blocked. Because when a person feels like they can't come to you and they don't feel like that you'll be receptive to what you're telling them, there's no point in them sharing, having a tough conversation with you.
Right.
Exactly. I think that's kind of where I was leading. Excuse me, I'm choking to death.
Right. But there are a lot of...
That's where I was kind of leading, where, Khalil, sorry to cut you off, where I think sometimes people don't know where to start, because it's just like, how's this person, I don't know how this person's going to receive the information that I have to share. And is it going to be detrimental for something that was in the past? Like, I can't change it.
I wanted to bring up tough, really, really, really tough situations that have happened. I know for me in the past, people not telling me about going through a divorce or losing a child, and not having those conversations with me up front after we've established this relationship. Especially the older I got, and you want to hear some type of information from somebody's past, and they've been holding on to certain things. And I've had, relationships with people, and then all of a sudden, boom, they do come out and tell me, well, the reason why I don't want to have kids is because of this and that, or the reason why I can't get married is because I'm actually still married. I've had patients, all right, clients who've told me stuff like that. I've had my own interactions with people like that. And the earlier you have those conversations, all right, that's where I believe the trust is built and it's established, and you're able to judge for yourself if this is the relationship I want to stay in, because this person does have all this baggage. They are coming with a lot of different things. Are you back?
Yeah, I think I am. So I'm overcoming bad case of sinusitis. So I think it was just something that got caught in my throat. So yeah, Khalil, I definitely agree with that. I think this is what we've talked about this on previous episodes, the importance of transparency and not just jumping the gun and going to talk to like, okay, I think this person is cute. I'm gonna just jump into a relationship with this person. I think having these important conversations up front is key, right? What are your ideals? What are your values? Do they align with mine?
Right.
Yeah, I think that, finding that common ground, that common interest, and being able to speak from that place, as well as being able to, be empathetic to the other person, is what will allow the conversation to not be as hard to have. Because I think that for a lot of us, and we'll have to unpack this much more deeper in an episode about communication, but like when it comes down to it, communication is a very difficult skill to master. A lot of us, even as therapists, struggle at it. You look at things throughout the history of our species have occurred because of a lack of communication, miscommunication, people misunderstanding each other. Wars have been fought, marriages have been lost, friendships have been ended, all because people don't practice and don't understand how to communicate in a way that both parties are able to be heard, and that things are received and transmitted in an effective and good manner. And I think that and that's the important piece. I mean, I think that, when it comes to it, actually sitting down and being able to just unpack things and being able to manage your emotions, being able to because emotions play a big part in it. Emotions play a big part in it. And I like, for me, and this is something I always speak with my clients about all the time. Like when I have to make a major decision, I take my emotions out of it. I don't make decisions when I'm emotionally compromised. I don't speak about anything serious when I'm emotionally compromised, because RJ, when I'm mad, is not the same RJ when I'm calm, cool, and collected. When I'm mad, you getting it. I don't care who we in front of, what's going on, you getting it. But what I had to realize was those two people can't coexist in the same space at the same time.
They can never show up.
Because what'll happen is I will close doors in my own face. I will block my own blessings, and I will talk myself out of certain opportunities because I allowed my emotions to be in the driving seat. And so, being able to manage your emotions, especially when it comes to something serious, and being able to receive the emotions coming back towards you as a person that may be delivering a very tough conversation, is a big part of it. Because like for a lot of us, one of the things that we struggle with is being able to receive other people's emotions. We want to give other people ours, but then not understanding that emotions are a two-way street. Same way I get upset about, receiving bad news, another person may be upset about receiving bad news. And when you factor that in,
processing time,
right?
Just because you've processed it and you've made amends and peace with it doesn't mean that the other person has. I think, if I just found out that, let's just say, for whatever, y'all like to say I'm rich. And so if I just
say, we know,
if I just spent all of me and my husband's retirement nest egg that we have set aside, and I invested it and I lost all of it.
Or you lost a job.
Right. I lost a job, right? I may have processed that, but my husband didn't. Like when he hears the information for the first time, it's the very first time he's hearing it. He's not going to be at the same level of calm that I am after having processed it whenever I processed it. Unless we find out the information at the exact same time, it's different processing speed. And I think we have to be in a space to allow people grace to process things. I know me, I am a slow processor. In the immediate, I'm going to be chill, I'm going to be calm. about a week later, that thing gonna hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, yo, that sucks. That's a mess. Like, no, they didn't do that to me. It's gonna hit me a lot later. So somebody looking from the outside ain't gonna be like, you got an attitude. What's the attitude about? Well, because my processing time was a lot different. I was probably in the moment trying to focus, trying to get through something. So when I actually got time to sit down and think about everything,
right, it was overwhelming.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. And so when I come back at the person, I'm like, now I'm ready to talk. Now I'm ready to dive into it. But in their head, they could be a quick processor, and they're already finished. They're on like, you still on that? Yo, you dragging it now. I'm not dragging it. I just never gave myself a chance to process it.
And that happens in every day. There's something go on and it'll go over your head because you're thinking about so many other things, and then when it finally actually hits you and you're like, oh my goodness, dang, I'm gonna have to deal with this later. But I think I like people when with my mom, she's one of them people you can tell her some wild stuff, right? And she'd be like, what happened? And she'll go off in that minute, and we'll start talking about it, and then after that, it's done, right? She blows off the steam, or I blow off the steam, and it's done. And the next day, my mom be like, well, we ain't even worried about that no more, right? But then there's other people where it's just so, it shocks them, and they just can't process in that moment. And by the time they get back to you, I'm already past it. I've already moved past it. I've already processed it. And then they want to still be dragging it on for no.
This is why me and Khalil can't be mad at each other.
Right. Because I like to blow up.
Feeling, and I'ma just be
stewing, right? Like, I like to blow up. Tell me now that I did something wrong. I like that.
I'm gonna tell you when I'm ready to blow up.
Right. But see, I'm the same way.
That's simmering. I can't deal with that. Like, a week later, and you still feeling it? Come on, we passed that.
I'm the same way. I give myself 10 minutes. I get some bad news. I give myself 10 minutes. In that 10 minutes, I go full on Super Saiyan. I'm raging. I am exploding like a volcano. After that 10 minutes is up, because life don't stop. Me being mad and me stewing in it doesn't make the problem go away. But what I had to realize as a therapist, like Unique said, everyone processes things at their own speed.
Different.
And so for me, as a person that either had to deliver some bad news or receive some bad news, what I had to realize was I had to then be empathetic to what they were experiencing and their processing speed and help them develop the resilience to bounce back from it. Because like for a lot of us, when it comes to receiving bad news, depending on what the news is, because there's different tiers of bad news or tough conversations. Like if it's not life or death, you can bounce back from it. You can bounce back from it. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, but there's going to be a day where we get up off our back. And so that is where, as a person that is a part of a team, part of a family, part of a unit, you have to be that. Somebody's got to be the rock. Somebody's got to be the rock, and somebody's got to be that anchor and help people kind of bounce back from that. Because the thing about it though is like, it doesn't make your problems go away. It doesn't. And we have to keep, to be fair, we have to be mindful of the fact that, like Unique said, everyone doesn't respond to things the same. Like, she may not respond to it immediately, but maybe a week later it hits her. And so I have to be cognizant of that and be understanding of that and be empathetic of that and give her that. And like I said earlier, have that safe space for her to be able to be in that space, be in that moment, and be supportive in that moment. I think that when you start to incorporate these different facets of, the different facets of being able to communicate effectively, that is what allows you to be able to go in. And like I tell my case managers all the time, because my case managers, nobody ever wants to be the bad guy. They want to come to me and then want me to go and deliver the bad news to a client about something. Somebody getting evicted. Well, can you go tell them they being evicted? Somebody going to jail. Can you go tell them they going to jail? Like, why I got to go tell them? Because you good at
information.
Well, it's not that I it's not that I like being the villain, but the thing is, like I tell my case managers, I have mastered the art of having difficult conversations respectfully. You know, every life is not always going to be sunshine and roses and Skittle rainbows.
Right.
At some point in time, you know, somebody's got to step up, because think about it like this right here. If you're being evicted and nobody told you that you were being evicted, how well would that go over for you?
Yeah.
Not well at all.
The police show up to put your stuff out on the front step because nobody bothered to tell you you're being evicted until now. So
it's not going to go over well.
So for me, being empathetic and putting myself in the other person's shoes and understanding how I would feel on the other side of it is what allows me, because I was, you know, like my dad always says all the time, I used to hate it when I was a kid and he used to say this to me all the time because I always thought it was so condescending. But as an adult, I understand it better now. You know, an acronym of joy: Jesus first, others second, yourself last. And so when you put yourself behind other people and you're always leading with that and looking at it from the perspective of how would I want to be treated in comparison to how, you know, what's going on, it allows you to be able to navigate that space a little bit better. So for me, like I said, it's not that I enjoy being the bad guy, but I'm not a person that shies away or runs away or tries to avoid the conflict, you know, because the conflict coming, it's like a punch.
Right.
Well,
You know,
I feel it like this, right? Because I don't think, for me personally, when it comes to having difficult conversations, I'm not one who dislikes conflict or confrontation. I do understand that I can be very confrontational, and that is something that I have tried to work on, not being confrontational.
My little sister has grown a lot.
So, because I will argue with the best of them. I tell somebody flat out, you're lying, and that's stupid.
Yes, I witnessed it.
But I have since grown up, and so now my pattern is not necessarily to think how I want to hear it. From what I know about this person, what will help them to understand what I'm saying the best.
Mm-hmm.
Because how I might want to hear something is totally different from how somebody else might want to hear it. Right? I know when I'm talking to my kid, I have to be very calm. I have to be even toned. Oftentimes explaining things to the full magnitude so that P understands it. But she'll be like trying to dance around it, and I really have to drag it out for her to get it. Like, that, P, we're not doing that, and here are the reasons why we're not doing it. I understand that you would like for us to do it. This is not gonna happen, and it's definitely not gonna happen today. And usually she's not always agreeable to it, but she understands it.
Well, you
now
explain it.
Somebody else on the other hand, now we ain't doing that. And that could suffice.
Yeah, and that's
they don't need all that explanation. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I try my best to, one, build solid relationships with people where I can understand who they are, even in the workplace. When I would have to fire people, I was the COO for a company and I had to fire people. I tried my best to understand, get to know the staff. So when I had to give unpleasant information, what do I know about this person? Hey, I know this is untimely. I know you have a family, and we will do that within our best to accommodate you and finding somewhere else to work. However, your time here is ended.
Which is tough.
I never got any nasty messages. Nobody ever called my phone, calling me out my name. Even when I had to put clients out of our houses, there were times when it was just not gonna be right. My favorite client, that has now since passed, I've talked about him before on the podcast. Foresight, he used to drink. He would drink himself till it was coming out his pores. He was an alcoholic. And I remember a couple times I had to put him out, and he would be crying and just begging me, no, please don't let me. I don't want to go. And every time they would call me, my heart would break because I knew that I was going to be the one that have. They say nobody can tell him. He don't listen to nobody but you. And so I would have to sit him down and say, all right, well, put him on the phone. And I say, buddy, you know what I'm about to say. Please don't say it. Just don't say it. I said, I know. I don't want to say it, but you know.
Right.
You know what I have to do. I got to follow the rules. Or what I am going to do, I'm going to help you find somewhere else to live. I think you need a higher level of care. I know you don't like it, but you can call me while you're there. And if you get yourself together and you finish the program, you're more than welcome to come back. It was a hard conversation every time. Even having to call people's loved ones and tell them that their loved one had died and I never met them. I would go off of the strength of what did I know about this person? How would this person want their loved ones to know that they passed?
Right.
So I think half of the battle is building relationships with people, really doing the hard work of understanding who people are, even if you just met somebody for the day. Learn enough about them to say, oh, okay, well, they wearing a blue shirt. Hey, man, you know, blue's a dangerous color. I heard blue really, it sends a bad message out. I see that that's your favorite shirt. I see you wear it quite often. Maybe that's not the color for you. I don't know. Build relationship. That's what I'm saying. The first order of healthy communication is building relationships with people, getting to know people beyond what meets the eye.
So one of the things that you just touched on that I really like, and I use myself as reflection, is you will pull off of past experiences to kind of help guide what you're going to do now. And I think that for a lot of us, you know, experience is bought and paid for, and you can learn a lot from past things that didn't go right and past interactions that you've had with people to make sure that this interaction doesn't become a rinse and repeat of a past interaction. Because there's never
failed interaction.
Exactly. So I think that for a lot of us, you know, applying that knowledge that we learned in past conversations, when I've had to deliver not so good news or tough news or news that is not going to go over well, understanding that my tone of voice plays a big part in it. Understanding place and time, you know, plays a big part in it. Understanding my word choice plays a big part in it. Understanding what's going on in that other person's life plays a big part in it. Like there's a lot that goes into being able to deliver news and it being able to be received well. And I mean, by pulling on those past experiences, one of the things that I like to do is I like to practice before I speak to anybody about something serious. I practice that bad boy. When I got to brief somebody on something,
you got to talk to me. You don't practice nothing.
Nah, I don't.
When you say something to me, he just comes from my neck.
That's right.
Oh, God.
So y'all have that relationship. He's already built a relationship.
Listen, we're siblings. I mean,
he don't care. He don't care nothing about my feelings.
We're siblings. I mean, we're gonna fight and we're gonna be okay.
Back 15 years. Give me. I want the 15-year.
Y'all are already too close. There's no need for all.
I want the 15-year version.
No.
Rewind the clock 15 years.
Ain't no rewinding nothing. It is what it is at this point. You got what you got.
But no,
my phone cousin.
But I feel you on that, RJ. Practicing, kind of like go over in my head. I'll go over the dialogue on how this is probably going to play out because I've already been playing it out in my mind anyway. Because that's just how most people are. You play it out in your mind. But I do like the fact that you guys are saying build the relationship with the person. Obviously, trust is something you need to have with somebody. Honesty, trust, building that relationship. And then, hey, try to formulate it in a way where it's the truth and you're not just going straight for the jugular, but you're actually giving it to the person and allowing them time to process what you're telling them. That's kind of what I'm getting from you guys. And I want to start practicing that. Like I'm getting that from you all when I'm listening and I'm picking up on these little hints because I want to try that because I hate confrontation, right? Unlike Unique said, I hate confrontation. I had to run a treatment program. I couldn't stand it because my whole job was based on confrontation, telling people what they're not doing. And if you struggle with that, if you are a people pleaser or you want people to like you, you get what I'm saying? It's difficult to have those type of conversations with people. And so what you guys just gave for the person who's listening to this, those are some good skills because I've had to learn all of that in my career. And knowing that every single day I had to confront somebody about what they're doing wrong and how to say that in a way where I'm not going straight for the jugular, like, get out, or I'm done with you, I'm tired of you, and having to sit down with them, build the rapport, even if it's like Unique said, just tell them, hey, I see you that's a nice shirt you got on, or that's your color. Even if it's setting the tone, just talking to them about something materialistic or whatever, still being able to build a rapport and then going through with them that tough situation and allowing them some time to process it. I think I had to learn that because I did not want to disappoint people. I did not want to upset people early on in my career.
I'm going to help you out, Khalil.
Mhm.
I've been using this. I don't know how in the world I came up with this, but one time in session, I said difficult conversations are like hot soup. Are like soup. Any type of soup that you have, right? It could be the best soup ever. If it's too hot or it's too cold, it won't be good. It's got to be just right. Difficult conversation is much like that. It's got to be just right. If you're too hot,
if you come in too hot,
the person's not going to receive it. If the soup is just, gazpacho, everybody don't like gazpacho, cold soup. Everybody don't like that. So you got to make sure I'm bringing this in at a temperature that's going to be palatable to the person that I'm delivering it to, right? Is it going to be, is a person going to be able to digest this, or they going to have to blow to cool it off?
Right.
I don't want a conversation that's got to be cooled off first by me.
Mm-hmm.
You bringing it to me hot, and I got to cool it off, because now I'm about to give you hot soup right back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And I might throw a little extra salt in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think when you're thinking about a conversation, ask yourself, is the moment too hot right now to have this?
Mm-hmm.
Would this person be able to receive it? I'm gonna be honest. If you gotta have a conversation with Black folk, did they eat today?
Right. Are they hangry?
I'm serious. Like, make sure they ate. I know for me and my Black self, if I got a migraine because I ain't ate, that is not a good time to ask me.
Not a good time to bring up something different.
Nothing about nothing, because I'm hungry. Okay, I'm hungry and I'm sleepy. My answer is automatically no off the top.
Well, I think that's all human beings. Hungry,
I don't know,
tired, lonely.
Maybe,
all those things.
Because the Snicker bar commercials, they got more than yeah, they do be having white people on the
lonely,
Snicker bar.
tired.
Yeah. So I just think,
I think
if you're going to have a conversation with somebody, you might want to make sure their basic needs
have been met. Right.
Have been met first.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, I'm going to be late. If you got to tell your boss, because we're talking about real life situation, you got to tell your boss you're going to be late for the 15th time again. First of all, do better.
Why? Why are you 15 times?
That's number one. Do better.
First of all, do better.
And then immediately after, hey, Jenna, I got a coffee coming for you. I know you like your morning coffee, Jenna. And I went ahead and threw a little scone in there, a blueberry scone for you. Because I'm going to be a little late to the office. But I just want you to know, your stuff is coming. Jenna might still hit you with that pink slip. But it's going to be after she finished her coffee. It's going to give you a little time to get to work to get it. You see what I did there?
I like that.
You gotta figure out. She might not fire you. She might write it up and hold it for the next time you're late. Because if you're late 14 times, you're gonna be late one more time.
Right. If you've already been late that many times,
gonna do that. That's who you are.
Yeah.
That's who you are. And you got to come sit on one of our couches and work that out. Because baby, mercy. But I think, like what I'm saying, recognizing that conversation. So Gemma might need to have a heart-to-heart with you. Hey, look, I know you think you like working here, but baby,
your actions.
You don't
think you like.
You think you like working here, but honey,
that's what she said. The word.
It's not lining up to look like that.
Right.
Okay. It's giving. It's very much giving something else.
Yeah. Your behaviors.
And see, that's how you just. But Gemma came correct. Gemma did not hit you on a day off and say, "Don't come back no more."
Mm-hmm.
Because she could have.
Yeah.
She could have.
Go ahead and file unemployment, Khalil.
And see what I liked about what both of you guys were talking about was the willingness to learn. for a lot of us, even as therapists, there, just because we work with the mind doesn't mean that we always understand it all the time.
Mhm.
And so we never stop learning. And so even what Unique was saying about, coming in hot, that was something I had to work on. I had to work on, understanding that, yes, what I was telling them was true. But a lot of times the way that you're telling somebody something impacts their ability to be able to receive it and digest it. People give, I can see her face right now. Me and Khalil have talked about her a couple times. People give her a lot of flack about the things that she says. But when you actually look at the facts and you actually go Google what she's saying, a lot of it is true.
What's that?
Iyanla Vanzant?
No, not her.
No. This lady's a Trump supporter.
Yeah. I can't think of what her name is, but
she's a staunch Republican. There's nothing wrong with being a Republican.
But it's just it's her delivery. It's her delivery. When your truth is delivered with arrogance, or it's delivered with smarminess, or it's delivered with an air of disrespect.
Oh, come on,
people,
that word. I love that.
People ain't gonna receive it. And so for me, I had to check myself a lot of times, because Unique would be like, I agree with what you're saying, but you hurt my feelings.
And I would yank his collar, ladies and gentlemen. Yank. You were talking to, because he forgets. I'm confrontational. I fight with these words.
Yeah, right.
You thought you was talking to.
And so we would have those conversations, and I would reflect back on those conversations and how I said what I said, and realize okay, yeah, I could have handled that differently. I could have said that differently. And so the context of what I was trying to communicate to her was needed. She needed to hear that information, but the way I delivered it, you need
I didn't even need to hear it.
You needed to hear it. But the way I delivered it, made her less likely to receive it and actually act on it in an appropriate manner. And so for a lot of us, that's where, like I said before, the practice and the reflection becomes a huge, big part. A lot of us, as we get older, especially once we get grown, we start thinking that, hey, we got all the answers, and we don't. We don't have all the answers. And so the moment you stop learning is the moment you set yourself up for failure.
Right.
Because there's never a day that goes by where I don't learn something new. There's always something new that I can learn. And so when it comes to this particular topic, of being able to have the tough conversations with people, it's never and I go back to what I said earlier, there's never going to be a perfect time to have a conversation with somebody about something that is serious. And it's not always going to be comfortable. But for me, I can tell you as a therapist, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. And the reason I'm comfortable being uncomfortable is it allows me to not become complacent. It allows me to not take people for granted, not waste people's time, not waste my own time, and to always remain respectful. By being comfortable being uncomfortable, it allows me to and dial in on things. And so with having these tough conversations with people, it allows me to be able to dial in and have that tough conversation with someone without having to beat around the bush, without having to jug and finesse you and use all these words and confuse you. And then you leave the conversation no more dialed in on what I was talking to you about than when you sat down with me.
Right.
See, the beautiful thing about a contentious moment, right? Well, I'm not even saying a contentious moment, because I don't think you need one. A confrontational moment that's a growth point. But most people miss it because they're so freaking contentious. Right? When you stop and realize, okay, I'm uncomfortable. What about this is uncomfortable? Usually it's a point of growth. It's a stretching. I'm asking you to see beyond your scope of knowledge, beyond your scope of expertise, or beyond your reference point, to see something other than. That's uncomfortable. You have passed the state of homeostasis, the state of your equilibrium, right? Where things are calm.
The status quo, right? The
status quo. You've passed that. And so anytime, instead of getting upset and becoming contentious, I'm not doing that. The beauty is in saying, how can I grow from this? I'm gonna segue it back to the beginning part, right? We talked about the young lady who had relations with the man's friend. In that moment, it was uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortable conversation, albeit for all parties involved to have.
Yeah.
But a growth point to say, I'm wanting to take the next step with you. And so I want to share a part of you that, looking back, I would have definitely made some changes. And if I had to do it all over again, I may have done it differently. And that's a growth point personally. It shows a growth point in that relationship, that I trust you enough to share something that's very intimate, that affects not just me, but could potentially affect how you view everybody in the space.
Right.
And that you may not necessarily be the proudest of either.
You might not be the proudest of on both parties. Because I'm gonna be honest, I had a roommate who got smashed by some homies. I was furious. Because I'm just like, girl, you're my roommate. Because I might think I moved that way.
Right,
what?
right. Birds of a feather. Right.
So I didn't want nobody associating me with that, but she did it. And the saddest part, and the reason why I was just like playing the advocate is because I know it's tough. Because my roommate didn't tell me. It did come back to me. Oh, in a joking manner, she got smashed. She got, choo-choo. And that's how I found out. And they were like, yo, that's your roommate. You ain't know?
Man, you ain't
know she moved like that? Well,
right.
I didn't get defensive, Khalil.
Oh.
I was more or less, and I wasn't embarrassed. I don't embarrass easily, but I was, honestly, I was sad. Because I was just like, this kind of stuff follows you, man. She left the school. I was like, this kind of stuff follows you. Don't run from this.
Right. So
but had she told me, I would have been able to be confrontational.
Right. Been up front.
I would have been able to embarrass some people, because I have. Back in my heyday, I have called a few people out and told them exactly how I thought about them, where they can go, and how to get the quickest ticket to it.
Right.
But the God has saved me. I have been baptized a couple times since.
But you were talking about someone, when you brought it back to the young lady, we're talking about someone who goes to that period of uncomfortability so they can obtain the growth.
You can grow.
Spiritually, mentally, physically. Anytime we get stretched, we're growing, right? So the issue is most people aren't willing to grow.
They don't know, Khalil. I don't even think that's that they're not willing, right? Because you think about
doing something different. It's being
flexible. Your feet. Whether you like your feet growing or not as a kid, they're going to do it. Your feet are going to grow, right? Whether they like it or not, it's going to do that. That's the same way in life. Your ability to grow is not optional. You're going to grow. It's at which rate are you going to do it?
Right.
You going to do it fast or slow? Because some people, they grow in height slow. You have slow growers. Right? But that doesn't mean that they stopped. What they call them? Slow bloomers? Late bloomers.
Late bloomers.
Late bloom.
Well, look, at this point, to me, that stagnation, all right, is in a direct correlation. Yeah, to start having to be stuck, as we call it therapeutically, to be stuck where there is no growth. You have that stagnation. Well, even though they're growing, because they are learning things, obviously every day you're going to learn something, even if you don't intend to, you're going to learn something, and you might have to learn the hard way. You might have to learn the hard way. So my issue is when people don't want to do something different, when they don't want to be a little more flexible, they don't want to enter into that gray area. My problem with the situation is if you back away from that type of confrontation, all right, your level of comfortability won't change, all right, to the way it's supposed to. You need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. RJ said it earlier.
That's for everybody. Punch him in the eye. I'm kidding.
Right, exactly.
We don't advocate violence on this podcast. Okay. Look, all thoughts and opinions are not shared, but I try not to overthink it.
Right. But what I'm saying is, all right, the problem with people not wanting to grow is you end up growing anyway. And it might be a rough process for you.
Yeah, and you're going to be on the wrong side of that change.
Yeah, you be on the wrong side of the change. That's right. So that's where I was coming to, but I'll let you guys end it. I'm going to be quiet.
No, Khalil, we love it. Y'all ain't see Khalil. See, this is why
Talk
y'all
about
gotta,
popping people in the eye, man. I'm done with you.
this is why y'all can't just listen to the podcast. Y'all got to watch the podcast because y'all don't see Khalil with the gray and the beard, the goatee. He's giving wisdom today, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Oh, from the chin strap, baby. From the chin.
I came back.
Y'all know Khalil. This is why y'all got to watch the podcast because
Yes.
you miss out on so much of the goodness just by listening to it. Like we really be giving y'all straight fire. So don't be quiet, Khalil, because we love that sage, wise, salt and pepper wisdom that you give us.
That's what I'm giving off today.
That's what you're giving off today, the salt and pepper wisdom.
It might not be there next week, so I gotta. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I want to watch. You know how it is, right? Like, because everybody has to admit, man. Like, the older you get, the more you be like, I don't even know if I want to watch this. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm about to die of this Joker. You know, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going
to. Dad wisdom, okay?
My man about to have a painted on beard. Painted on beard.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Black folks don't want to talk about it, but you know it's true when you see them dudes and it be. I'm like, you done paint, edged up your beard with paint, man. Come on, man.
No. Let me segue, y'all. Let me segue. So I saw this man during Thanksgiving, right? I was trying to get my last little bit of Brunson burger. Homeboy had the white line. He had gray hair, right? Homeboy.
He had the chuck.
Yes.
And that thing was, well, I was like, his barber did him filthy, okay? But he was shocked.
Like some barbers be airbrushing people's tape lines on.
Listen, my boy was casket ready. You couldn't tell me he wasn't ready to go to the morgue. Boom, baby was set.
Hey, y'all are
the crazy part in me, because my mama was with me, so I didn't really cut up. Because see, the crazy part in me would have been like, okay, they just left a little bit right there.
Yeah, just
because I'm messy. I'd be like, oh, okay, that's a new style that had a little line right there. Bet, oh boy, that thing sharp. Anywho, bringing it back. I really think that when it comes to having a hard conversation, I like a little humor in it. I like a little humor in my hard conversation, and I think a lot of other people do. My mama didn't quite take to it all the time when she wanted to have a hard conversation with me about something that I didn't do. I threw a little humor in there, and she didn't always think it was funny, but I did. I would go to my room and cackle, baby. I think that's what made me the comedian that I am today. And I think that when you insert humor, it helps you to enjoy life a lot better. Everybody makes mistakes, right? All players mess up sometimes. And I think if you just learn to laugh at yourself first, even in the most serious of situations, you get to see, you know what, there's a little joy in this.
Oh yeah,
I have been at funerals, cutting up, laughing. I have been in some very tough spots where I have found the humor in it, and my friends always laughing and say, yo, you sitting over here crying and laughing, and I'm trying to be serious and like be in this somber moment with you. It's like, you better laugh. I'm trying to laugh. I ain't trying to be sad this whole time. We can cry after I finish. So I think a lot of it is really understanding what is the goal that you're trying to get. If you have to have a hard conversation, is it just sharing the information, or do you want this person to feel your heart? Because that's two different things.
Yeah,
if
most definitely.
I want you to feel my heart, I'm gonna come off rip. Look, I know this is hard to hear, but I just want to share my heart. If you need a moment to process it, to really let it sink in, I get that, and move after that. All right, I'm gonna let me and my gray hair. We're gonna be quiet because Khalil and his gray hair is quiet. So me and my grades that I got, we're gonna be quiet. Roger, you ain't got no grades, so you got to keep talking.
That's right.
Yeah,
so what what I personally like to do is I like to use the Iyanla Vanzant approach. Like when she looks at somebody and she grabs their hand and she says, "Beloved," I know that some bad is about to come.
Like Apostle Paul, beloved. Say some real messed up stuff when they say beloved. You know what I'm saying?
Like her calling them beloved, it completely disarms them. Like it works every single time. Like,
but not disarm me. I be ready.
You know what it means.
Like it immediately disarms them, and they're just like, it's like a deer caught in headlights. And I mean, she's able to slide whatever news she got to slide out there to them, and they receive it. And I was just like, I need to start using that. Because it, like, the beloved part disarms them immediately.
You gotta but that sweetheart. Hey, sweetheart.
But when you look at what that is, I mean, that's essentially sandwiching, where you are starting off with something. You're starting off with something positive and something constructive and something that is going to be received, and then you put the and that's the bread, and then the cold cuts that's in the middle is going to be the bad. Is going to be the bad parts. But
you chose the right one of them cold cuts, because that's exactly what they are, cold cuts.
Yeah. So I mean,
not heated meatballs.
But it definitely works, and I mean, so when I saw that the very first time, I was like, yeah, I need to use that. I need to start using that, because that definitely works. And yeah,
beloved, that shirt is tacky. But your face is gorgeous. Yeah, you gotta say, beloved, you know you messed up, right?
Right. Like, no, wait.
You gotta put the beloved first. That's the key. But see, Reginald, I don't know why you don't know how to do that. Because you lived in the South. Bless your heart.
Yeah,
you gotta throw that bless your heart on there.
Bless your heart.
That baby ugly, bless his heart.
Oh my gosh. I have heard that.
Golly.
That's what they do. That's
bless
what they
his
do.
heart.
Down south, terrible. Man.
Listen, that baby just about dumb as a bag of rocks. Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. Like, you gonna curse me and bless me all at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
I love the South for that. I love the South for that, boy. They'll bless your heart, and it ain't. Child, nice and filthy.
And you just don't even know how to you don't know how to take it. Should you be offended or should you?
Ain't nothing to say about that.
All you can do is you're just looking, because you're just like, what just happened?
Ain't not a damn thing you can say. Ooh, that's an ugly shirt. Bless your heart.
Yeah,
keep it moving.
That's all you really can do.
Like, she just called that baby ugly. She just called the baby ugly. That's what it was.
That joker got teeth like a jack-o'-lantern. Bless his heart.
Right?
Like, God damn it.
Like a jack-o'-lantern? He missing. That what you trying?
Because my grandmother would definitely say stuff like that. She would definitely say, and you'd be like, did she just talk about me just now?
Them roasts be righteous. Ooh, baby, you looking like a butterball turkey. Bless your heart.
Right, bless your heart.
Whoa, you done put on a couple, haven't you?
Right. I'm round. Yeah. I'm butterball. I'm all that.
Be having you agreeing to the stuff. Yeah, I got a little brown, didn't I?
A little round.
Yeah.
I knew I felt a little thick.
Be making you reassess things.
But see, that'll help you grow, because you leave that conversation feeling edified. Like, this cat that comes from a place of love. They done got me right together in the most loving way. God damn it. Let me go lose some weight. Let me go get on the treadmill right now.
Let's go to the gym.
Right now, because my granny done called me fat.
Yeah. Well, look, that's all it is. That when you translate that's all it is. That interpretation is real. You just call me fat. Let me go on to the gym.
You're going to be back walking on that treadmill, beloved. But you're going to be on it.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's a growth point. You're going to be mad. And you're going to be stomping your way on that treadmill, but you're going to be on it.
You're going to go up and down.
And then you're going to come next week with grandmama's arm swinging. Beloved, you that arm is a little thick, beloved. Oh, yes, baby. These are good potato mixing arms. And she going to sweeten it right up.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on there.
I can't.
Y'all got to read between the lines of that.
Yes, that's how grandmas do.
Yeah.
Got to read between the lines.
So we're going to end the conversation there. This is Try Not to Overthink It signing out. I'm RJ.
I'm Unique.
I'm Khalil.
And if you like what you saw, we can be found on YouTube as Try Not to Overthink It. We can also be listened to on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Audible. Pretty much anywhere you can get your audio file from.
This is not the time to listen. It's the one to watch.
Yes, most definitely. If you we would prefer that you watch, because again, you miss out on these beautiful faces and the antics that we have during the show. So this is us signing out, and we will catch you next time. Peace.